Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Friends, before going into the details of the war, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Please support by subscribing and turning on the notification bell. We are a strong community. Netherlands to provide extra €110 MLN to help Ukraine with electricity. The Netherlands will allocate an additional €110 million to Ukraine to help with energy supply and shelter this winter. Minister of International Trade and Development Cooperation of the Netherlands Lia G. Schrijnmacher has said. Ukraine is preparing for a rough winter. Half of its energy supply systems are destroyed. Ukrainians will face grueling conditions in the coming months. The Netherlands will provide an extra €110 million, €180 million total, to help with energy supply and shelter this winter. We stand with Ukraine, she said on Twitter. In Kherson Oblast, armed forces of Ukraine destroyed Russian occupiers' HQ, Operational Command, South. Ukraine's defense forces destroyed 30 occupants, 2 tanks and 4 trucks in the village of Chervony Mayak of the Kherson Oblast with precise strikes, Operational Command, South, reported. After the departure of the main units from the right bank, the enemy blew up the Antonivsky bridges in order to complicate the further movement of our troops. Defense forces continue measures to de-occupy settlements in the Kherson direction, Operational Command, South, informed. In the course of successful offensive actions, advanced units of our troops reached the right bank of the Dnipro River. Measures to identify and destroy the enemy in a number of settlements are ongoing. Work has also begun in the regional center. As a result of accurate strikes by the defense forces on the headquarters of the Russian occupying forces in the settlement of Chervony Mayak, Kherson Oblast, more than 30 occupants were killed, 2 tanks and 4 trucks were destroyed. No water, power or internet, only euphoria in newly liberated Kherson. Ukraine. CNN. For 8 months, residents of the Ukrainian city of Kherson have been living under brutal Russian occupation. But on Friday, Ukrainian forces swept into the city and Russian troops retreated to the east. The residents have no water, no internet connection and little power. But as a CNN crew entered the city on Saturday, the mood was euphoric. As the crew filmed live in Kherson's central square, some sang the national anthem while others shouted, "Slava Ukraini," glory to Ukraine, a patriotic greeting. "We feel free, we are not slaves, we are Ukrainians," resident Olga told CNN. Back when Russian troops rolled in at the beginning of the war, this was a city that tried to resist. People were taken away, tortured, disappeared, residents said. "We were terrified by the Russian army. We were terrified by soldiers that can come any moment in our house, in our home. Just open the door, like they are living here, and steal, kidnap, torture," Olga said. But now, people flocked to the central square in the newly liberated city, wrapped in Ukrainian flags, singing and chanting, "Freedom for Ukraine." Everyone here is out celebrating in the square here. People are wearing the Ukrainian flag, they're hugging the soldiers, they've come out to see what it's like to have freedom, Robertson said. The CNN team appeared to be the first international journalists to reach Kherson city center since it changed hands in the past 48 hours. On Friday, Russia announced it had withdrawn from the west bank of the Dnipro River in the strategic southern region of Kherson, leaving the regional capital of the same name and surrounding areas to the Ukrainians. The retreat represents a major blow for Putin's war effort in Ukraine. Kherson was the only Ukrainian regional capital that Russian forces had captured since February's invasion. Their withdrawal east across the Dnipro cedes large swaths of land that Russia has occupied since the early days of the war, and that Putin had formally declared as Russian territory just 5 weeks ago. The woman said it felt amazing to see Ukrainian troops in Kherson. "We felt every day your support, thank you so much," the woman added, before hugging Robertson. On Friday evening, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky posted a nighttime video of celebrations in the city, where a crowd was waving flags and chanting, ZSU, the Ukrainian acronym for the armed forces. Earlier that day, the Ukrainian military's Southern Operational Command said Russian forces had been urgently loading into boats that seemed suitable for crossing and trying to escape across the river. It was unclear whether all Russian troops had left Kherson and the wider region. Serhiy Klon, a member of Ukraine's Kherson Regional Council, said the city was almost under the control of the armed forces of Ukraine, but cautioned that some Russian troops might have remained behind in civilian clothing. He warned that many Russian troops threw away their military uniforms and are now hiding with civilian clothes on. Ukrainian lawmaker reminds GOP of World War II lessons: no national security without international stability. As the Republican Party inches nearer to obtaining majority rule in the House, one Ukrainian parliamentarian is reminding current and future U.S. lawmakers of the lessons learned from World War II and urging unity in Congress. Every responsible politician knows and understands that international law, international security system and generally established borders cannot be violated, Alexander Vasyuk, a member of Ukraine's parliament, told Fox News Digital from Ukraine. Vasyuk, who leads the Strategic Partnership Ukraine-USA coalition, argued that the borders and principles established after World War II have defined international law and order. Ukraine's Zelensky urges unwavering support if GOP takes House in midterms. We have gained international stability and security at a very high price, he said. National stability and security in many aspects depends on international stability and security. The U.S. has been one of the chief supporters to Kyiv since Russia invaded in February and has provided $19 billion in security assistance since January 2021, more than $18 billion of which was provided since the February invasion. While Washington's support for Ukraine has largely been bipartisan, House Republicans brought the issue into question ahead of the U.S. midterms when Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, our caliph, said the GOP would not write a blank check to Kyiv if it won control over the lower chamber. Similarly, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, our GA, said last week that under Republicans, not another penny will go to Ukraine if the GOP wins the House. Our country comes first, she added. Neither the GOP nor Democrats have secured control over either congressional chamber. But as the race remains extremely tight in the Senate, Republicans appear a little more secure in their imminent victory in the House, having secured 211 of the 218 seats needed to gain a majority, opposed to Democrats' 192 seats. There are still 32 seats that have yet to be called in the House. In his interview with Fox News Digital, Vasyuk urged lawmakers on both sides of the aisle to remember they, along with their Ukrainian allies, share common values that are based on democracy, particularly in the face of Russian aggression. Vasyuk said he is not concerned by which party has control in Congress, and noted he already has plans to travel to Washington in December to meet with Democratic and Republican lawmakers. The Ukrainian parliamentarian plans to discuss expanding bilateral cooperation when it comes to economic, energy, security and humanitarian concerns, among other issues. Colombian President Gustavo Petro. The war on drugs was a failure. The party currently in power in Washington is very much aware of the fact that the war on drugs was a failure, said Petro, 62, who was elected president in June. The figures speak for themselves. 1 million people have died in Latin America because of it. Millions of people, in particular people of color, are either drug users or are in American prisons. Colombia's left-wing president said drug trafficking mafias are much more powerful than in the days of notorious cartel leader Pablo Escobar. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.